Wow. I look like I'm about to go rob somebody, but no. What's happening, people? Oh man, what a week it has been. I know there's a game obviously kicking off in just over 45 minutes, so I'm going to try and whiz through this as quickly as I possibly can. Basically, just going to go through match day 26 and then obviously go through all the games today, prediction wise, and then we may talk about a certain Gary Lineker after that as well. Basically, last week we had a full fixture list. I will go into the first game of the day, which would have come from the Etihad, and that was Manchester City 2, Newcastle 0. So I did say this, I think Newcastle's wheels are falling off. I know they've got 2 games in hand on us. I know they're still sort of in the top 4 conversation. I just don't think they have enough about them to obviously finish there. And it showed against Newcastle, against Manchester City. To be fair, it's Man City, and Man City could do that to anybody. The problem is the whole game City didn't get out of second gear. And Newcastle seemed pretty simple to beat, and that's how it's been for the past sort of few weeks for them. They can't seem to buy a win. A little bit like us at the moment, to be quite honest. A little bit like us. Very toothless. While defensively very, very resolute, very sound, you need goals. And if you're going to be fighting for Champions League spots, you need to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. And I do believe Newcastle have literally now, failed to do that in the last 3 Premier League games, I think it is. Bit of a trend. Haven't really been the same since a couple of weeks before the cup final against United. So that wasn't very shocking. I did call that to be a 3-0 whitewash, only 2. But that's where we sit on it at the moment. City still to become the champions for me. Moving on to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea finally won a game. Well done. Well done. And then they won a game in the Champions League in midweek. Dead game, to be quite honest. Not really much I want to report on that, to be fair. Chelsea won. Fofana got his goal, first goal for them. I think that was Chelsea's first win in the Premier League in 7, I think it was. So beat a very terrible Leeds side. Leeds weren't very good in the day. Leeds haven't been good for the past few weeks now. I think they're starting to get found out a little bit, and I'm now drawing for them to be in the relegation bottom 3. It'll be Leeds United for me. So Leeds United, Bournemouth and Southampton. Oh, my nailed on 3 to go down. Of course, that's going to change at some point, obviously, because it's a prediction and this is football and anything can happen. To the most annoying game of the weekend, happened at the Emirates. Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 2. Speaking of Bournemouth, this is exactly why you need to go down for this. 2-0 up at the Emirates after the 60th minute, and in a blink of an eye, you're conceding goals left, right and centre after you've been defensively resolute all game. And it's the calibre of goals you're conceding as well. So this is exactly the reason why I want them gone. I'm not even going to turn around and say Arsenal were good. Arsenal did what they needed to do. You don't need much to beat Bournemouth. And it showed. I'm irritated because Bournemouth had it in the bag. They had it. 2-0 up at the Emirates, playing very, very well, defensively sound, literally blocked off everything that Arsenal tried to do, and then you go and collapse like that. And to compound it, you can see the goal in the 97th minute, even though the referee should have blown the whistle in the 96th, but whatever, that's another conversation altogether. Yeah, you're going down for that reason, and I've seen enough of Arsenal to know that they're not winning the league. Simple as that. You can come back as many times as you want. You shouldn't be losing 2-0 at home to Bournemouth. Shouldn't have to come back from it either. But it is what it is. Another 3 points for them. I don't really foresee this weekend going their way, to be quite honest with you. But again, I've said that on numerous occasions, and look what's happened. So we'll go into that a little bit later on. We'll go to Villa Park next. Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. Ended up being 1-0 to Aston Villa. Again, one of those drab games. You kind of look at it and think, it could be a draw. Score draw, maybe a 0-0. And you were right in thinking that. Not many sort of aspects to discuss, to be quite honest. Crystal Palace are bang in trouble. Again, I don't think they'll be relegated, but I thought they'd be a lot better than where they're at the moment, considering the players they've got at their disposal. I know Zaha is out, and he's obviously a very big miss, but you do have other creative players, as in the Leicester, that can make things happen. You've got Milivojevic, who sits on the bench. I know he's a bit older. I think he's about 33, 34, but he knows what to do in there. Do you know what I mean? It's just Decore's a liability, sent off again. It's just, yeah, it's a bit of a mess over there at Palace at the moment. Defensively, they're not the best anyway. Not a big fan of their goalkeeper, Guaita. And you're still playing, are you, in Premier League games? It's just, are you kidding me, innit? I didn't even mean to pun that. It's just, it is what it is. It's terrible. It's absolutely shocking. As for Aston Villa, not really much more to say about them. They are a lot better under Unai Emery. And they're grinding out results. That's what they're doing. I think they're 2 on the bounce now, obviously beating Everton last week. So they're slowly climbing up the table. Moving on to the Amex Stadium. West Ham decided to score 4 last week. Thought the good times are back, and then got clarted again and conceded 4 again. So their goal difference has literally not changed in 2 weeks. It's got back to what it was before. Brighton 4, West Ham 0. And the scoreline speaks for itself, to be quite honest with you. West Ham have been a shambles this season, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. In Europe, they're fine. They won in the Europa League, UEFA Conference League on Thursday. But the Premier League for them is a different kettle of fish. And as we're seeing, the results just haven't been there for them. I don't know what the problem is. They have a really decent squad. Good enough to be in the top 10, to be quite honest with you. David Moyes is a very good manager. I do think he'll work it out eventually. I hope he doesn't, of course, but yeah, talented squad they've got. Declan Rice obviously hasn't been informed. Scamacca they need back on that pitch. Ogbonna obviously has just come back from injury. Yeah, it will yield for them, just not at the moment, and I'm enjoying everything I'm seeing from him at the minute anyway. As long as it takes a spotlight of us. Speaking of us, we went to Molineux last week and we lost 1-0. So here's my thing. Obviously, being out of Europe, we're not going to discuss that. We got knocked out without losing the game. Obviously losing the first leg, but not losing the game at home. There's no style. I'm not going to sit here and say Antonio Conte out, because I've never wanted him out, but this isn't the Conte that came in last season. Last season, we played with the handbrake off. We were scoring goals left and right. We were goals galore, chased Arsenal down, got the top 4, got into the Champions League. I think we were the top goal scorers in 2022 once that season ended. This season, it's almost like Conte's gone backwards, and he decided to overcomplicate things by having us in a very low block. So it's very rare that you see us in our own half, especially in the second half, where we have to come out and play a little bit more because we've fucked up in the first half. The style is not there. We have no style of play. We give it to certain individuals and hope that they can do something, whether it's a Kane, whether it's a Son. Son's been anonymous this season. Kulusevski's been anonymous this season. Kane is the only one. Without Kane's goals, we'd actually be sat in, I think I read this, we would actually be sat in 15th place without Kane's goals. Kane is currently on 17 Premier League goals. The next striker close to him, I believe, is Son, and he's on 4. Then Bentancur might be on 4 or 5 as well, actually, this season. And that's great from Bentancur, but obviously we've seen how much of a big miss he is since he's been out. There needs to be an overhaul. Certain things are starting to fall out of my club now, which I don't know what's going on. Richarlison obviously having his interview midweek. Conte responding to that interview from Richarlison. But if you didn't see it, go and look at it. Richarlison basically said it's been a shit season for him personally. It's been a shit season from us. Where he wants to play more, which is, rightful in what he's saying, because Son has not been good. Kulusevski has not been good. I don't mind seeing both of them being rotated, and obviously both of them chop bench for a bit. You go 2 up top, go Richarlison and Kane, go 3 in midfield, put Sarr in there alongside Skip and Højbjerg. If you want to do that, then, something's got to change, because obviously the 3-4-3 doesn't seem to be working now. And obviously teams have cottoned onto it. I'm not even going to turn around and say we got bullied, because we didn't. We were actually quite decent in the game. We're just so toothless. We leave so many spaces in the midfield. That's where Wolves exploited us. Adama Traore, of all people, as well, to score the goal. Imagine that. We're the only team he scores against, I'm pretty certain of this. Just not a good game. Not a good game. By us, we were decent at best. Hit the crossbar two times through Porro and Son. It's just, overall, it just stinks. It's not good. Defensively, we're not good. There are certain players in that team, and I'm going on a bit of a rant, man. I get that. There's certain players in this team that should not be there. We need them sold. If you want to be achieving big things and getting top fours and trying to win trophies, you can't be going out on the pitch with Davinson Sanchez on your bench or Ben Davies starting, Longley starting. You know, we can't have that. Christian Romero, yes, I know he's a hothead, but he's our best defender and we need to actually build around him. We need to integrate a team around Romero. If Romero is around better defenders, I guarantee you he will not be as rash. Emerson Royale, he doesn't need to be here. Perisic has had a shocking season. Ryan Sessegnon should not be anywhere near the first team squad. It's just a big rebuild is needed. I know a big rebuild is needed. I am not Conte out, as I said before. I am very much Poch come back though. I'm very much in that camp. Nothing has been the same since he left. Yes, I know he lost the locker room sort of back end of his tenure, but that is basically down to the fact that he wasn't backed. And he had nothing to work with. The squad wasn't as strong as he wanted it to be. We went through a whole season without actually buying a player in the market, and that's what he oversaw. And we still finished fourth and got to a Champions League final. And this is the man you don't want to back. Nah. I'm all for Poch coming back. He's got unfinished business here. He'd be my top choice. Failing to get him, I'd probably look somewhere like Tuchel. Maybe, but I know he'd clash with Levy. Levy does like a man that obviously listens. And that's not Tuchel. Tuchel will want to do things his own way. I do hope when Poch comes back, you know, if he does obviously decide to come back, there's still no, you know, we don't even know if he wants to be fair. I know he wants to come back for his own reasons, maybe a bit later on. But for now, is the squad good enough? Would he get back? There's so many discussions to be had. But I do think Conte is leaving at the end of the season. I just don't think he wants to be there anymore. And I'll talk about the game that we've got against Nottingham Forest today. Speaking of Nottingham Forest, City Ground, this is on the Sunday actually. Nottingham Forest 2, Everton 2. Really good game, and I slept halfway through it. I would have placed a bet on it as well, and if I had placed a bet on it, I would have won. Cards galore, goals galore, incidents galore, corners galore, attacks. That was a Premier League game that you can be proud of. Really, really, really good game, that one. And it went the way I thought it was going to go. Nottingham Forest obviously being on the front foot. I didn't actually anticipate Everton scoring 2 goals, to be quite honest. I didn't think they had it in them. I think that's the first time that's happened in a little while since they beat Arsenal. No? That was 1-0. Yeah. Everton scoring 2 goals in the game has not happened for a little while. And I can't even remember the last time that even happened. But yeah, really, really enjoyable game. Nottingham Forest, again, will, you know, I don't see them going down. That's because of their home form. They are unbeaten in a little while now. So they are picking up really, really useful results. I forgot one game actually on a Saturday. It was Southampton 1, Leicester 0. Easily forgettable for these reasons. Leicester were not good at all. Southampton, I think, through Alcaraz, really good goal from what I saw actually. Didn't actually see the game fully. But it looked like a really, really drab game. One of those games you tend to forget, and that's obviously what I did today without meaning to, so apologies for that. But St Mary's, Southampton 1, Leicester City 0. Sunday obviously started off Forest Everton, Liverpool versus Manchester United. Oh, mate. From Anfield. You know there's 7 letters in Anfield, isn't it? Oh, Man United caught that magnificent 7. How do you concede 7 against your rivals like that, especially there? To be fair, this could have happened to anybody, because obviously Bournemouth went there and lost 9-0. So going to Anfield is one of the toughest places to go. I don't know what it is about that place, but once you're in there, it's like a cauldron of people just on top of you. And they're very, very loud, and that can knock anyone's confidence. Unless your name is Real Madrid. But Man United went there with all the confidence in the world and literally got folded like a panini. It was incredible viewing. Oh my goodness. Gakpo twice, Salah twice, Nunes twice, and then Mighty White Teeth Firmino on the score sheet as well. So a parting gift before he obviously leaves this summer. It was just, I don't even know where to start with that, to be quite honest. Where do you start? Just licks upon licks upon licks, like an unwanted stepchild. It was just brutal. And they needed that, to be fair. They needed that clarting because they were getting far too vocal, talking about having the best partnership in the Premier League. Where, bruv? Where? You can see there's so many goals this season as well. You needed that to shut you man up. Seriously. Seriously, I'm glad that happened to you, though. It can happen to anybody, but the last time I remember my team getting clarted for 7 in the Premier League would have been, wow, back in what, 96? I think we had Gary Mabbott and that man in the squad there. And even then, we scored. So, you know, that was against Newcastle. I think it was like 7-1. Last time I remember us conceding 7 period was against Bayern Munich. But it's Bayern Munich. Do you know what I mean? That could happen to anybody. And then we scored 2. So, you know, you didn't score anything. So I don't want to hear your mouth, innit? Liverpool 7, Man United 0. That was from Anfield. Wow. And then Monday Night Football, a very, very good game. Probably one of the best games of the weekend, actually. Brentford 3, Fulham 2. Brentford were excellent. I saw the entire game. Brentford were awesome. Fulham, not so much, but Fulham do know how to carve out chances and score goals. And they just kind of kept themselves in the game to obviously do that. But Brentford literally battered them from start to finish. They literally, from the first minute, were at them. First goal, I believe, was in like the 5th minute from Pinnock. Tony on the score sheet again. Yeah, Brentford unbeaten at home since Arsenal in the Premier League. That's the only loss they've had this season at home. And Fulham, I think, need to do bits for me today because I know they've got Arsenal. So I'm hoping that's riled them up. So it's a good result for us, actually. Good result for the football community because we can't have Arsenal in this league. I keep on saying it till I'm blue in the face. I do not want them man to do it. Oh, mate, I can't wait until it comes crashing down. I really can't wait. Anyway, we'll move on to game week 27. We'll start off today within about 35 minutes, I think it is. We'll go to the Vitality Stadium. It's Bournemouth versus Liverpool, first game up. I'm going to go with a Liverpool 2-0 win. Kiss of death, I'm hoping on that because I do hope Bournemouth turn them over because Liverpool are right behind us at the moment and I cannot fathom them getting in the Champions League. I really cannot. I don't want to see it. But it's a high possibility now. Liverpool right there with a game in hand, only 3 points behind. Bournemouth should do the thing today. I'm not anticipating them doing anything. I really don't see them doing anything after they let me down last week as well. 2-0 win for Liverpool. I'll go Salah on the score sheet. Moving on to Ellen Road, Leeds United versus Brighton. Leeds are in free fall at the moment, and I think Brighton are going to have it again. Brighton to win 2-0 from Ellen Road. Mitoma to be in the score sheet for me there. Everton versus Brentford. This is from Goodison Park. I see that one being a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1. I think both teams obviously to score. Ivan Toney to be on the score sheet there again, and I'm guessing there's going to be a penalty in the game too. Leicester City versus Chelsea, live from the King Power. I don't know why I keep it calling it Walkers. It was called Walkers once, wasn't it? Yeah. King Power Stadium, Leicester versus Chelsea. Chelsea, decent win in midweek, decent win last week as well. Leicester City don't seem to know or have an identity at the moment, unless obviously they play us and obviously, you know, they score 4. Since then, they haven't won a game. I'm going to go for a draw on this one again. I'll go 2-2. Lord knows why, but I'm going to go 2-2 on that one. I don't think Chelsea are in any better position than what they were a couple of weeks back. A couple of wins against Leeds and a very, very poor Dortmund side and not convincing me they're going to go to Leicester and pick up a result. I don't see it happening. I'll go 2-2. Tottenham versus Nottingham Forest. I'm going to give myself the kiss of death on this one. I'm going to say we're going to lose a game. I think if we lose, Conte walks or he gets fired. Either way, he's not finishing his water or his Gatorade or whatever he wants to eat or drink in the team canteen. It's not happening. I'll go with a Nottingham Forest 2-1 win. Kiss of death, because obviously, you know, it happens. When I say we're going to win, we don't win. So hopefully a little bit of reverse juju there, innit? But I'll go Nottingham Forest to win 2-1, which obviously means in turn we're probably going to win at 5-0. Yeah. It's going to be the same squad that stank out the Champions League week in midweek. Didn't really do anything. 2 shots on target in a must-win game in the knockout stage of the Champions League. We're just not up for it. We don't want it. Simple as that. That's enough of me and them, to be quite honest. Crystal Palace versus Manchester City is the evening kickoff tonight. That's at Selhurst Park. Manchester City, formalities. I think they'll go there. I think they'll take the game 2-0. And I'll go with a Phil Foden goal there as well. We'll go to the Super Sunday games. Manchester United versus Southampton. That is from Old Trafford. That'll be a formality game for Man United. Marcus Rashford will be on the score sheet again. I'm going to go with a Man United 3-0 win. They had a good win in the midweek as well against Real Betis and ended up winning 4-1. So at Old Trafford, home comforts are real for them. West Ham United versus Aston Villa. This is from the London Stadium. Tough one to call this one. And because of that, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. And I think Jared Bowen is going to be on the score sheet for West Ham. Both teams to score. Jared Bowen on the score sheet for me there. Fulham versus Arsenal. Fulham, I've already stated it before. I think Fulham have enough to beat Arsenal. And that's what I'm going with. I'm going with a Fulham 2-1 win. My hate for Arsenal is strong, innit? I'm not going to turn around and be like, yeah, Arsenal played well. Nah, I don't care. Enemies are enemies. You don't like your enemies. You don't want to see your enemies prosper. I don't want to see Arsenal prosper. Arsenal are losing the game tomorrow. Fulham 2, Arsenal 1. Mitrovic to be on the score sheet for me on that one. And then the last game of the weekend, we've got Newcastle versus Wolves. I'm not even going to turn around and say Wolves are in good form. I know they beat us last week, but Newcastle, I think, have enough about them to take a 1-0 win. Could easily be a draw, actually. Could be a 0-0 because none of these teams actually like scoring goals. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're probably two of the lowest scoring sides in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so it sounds like it's got draw written all over it. We'll go with a 0-0. Potential 1-0 Newcastle. It won't be very high goal scoring, so don't even ruin your acca with this one. There's not going to be bundles of goals. It'll be literally like a 1-0 win either way. We've also got 2 games midweek. So we've got Southampton versus Brentford from St Mary's. I think Brentford will go there and nick all 3 points. I think that'll be a 1-0 win to them. And then we've got Brighton versus Crystal Palace. I don't even know why that's a derby, to be quite fair. Brighton all the way down in the south coast and Crystal Palace are down in South London. Don't really see the correlation. If someone can tell me that would be fantastic. But I do see Brighton taking those points as well. Another 3 points for them. And I think they'll win that 2-0. So that's my roundup of the week. Gary Lineker. Wow, yeah, I'm with him 100%. I love what all the pundits have done. Linekar, Ian Wright, Alan Shearer, Alex Scott, all the commentary team, every single person for Match of the Day, and I think Match of the Day 2 as well, have decided to not do any commentary on the games. Have decided not to come in for work, and I fully respect that. You're entitled to your opinion, especially if it's for the good of people. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with what you said. You should be wanting to help people. I don't like this government. I've made, no bones about it. It's not a political video, I know, but I'm not a conservative and I don't like Tories. Simple as that. So yeah, I'm all for what Gary Lineker said, to be quite honest, and fully respect that decision. That's my time. I'm going to go watch the game. There's a couple of bits I need to do. I hope it's a better weekend for us, to be quite honest. But either way, as I said before, I need Pochettino back. I need us to see winning football. Not even, of trophies to trophies, but I want to see my team playing well. I miss that. It's been drab every week. Yeah. Subscribe. Give me comments. Let's have a conversation. And I'll speak to you in the next week.